What's up guys, Basar Malik here, and today in this video I want to talk about how these lead aggregator websites such as Zillow, Trulia, Redfin and Realtor.com are basically lying to you with their so-called Zestimates. I am inspired by the video that Graham Stephan launched on his channel, and Graham basically talks about how these websites are basically producing false expectations in the mindset of the consumers, as well as like there've been a lot of lawsuits on these websites because home sellers, when they went out to sell and when they saw their valuation on the website were not as it should be on the real marketplace, because the market value has grown, and it does not incorporate the intangible factors such as the view of the house, as well as remodeling of the house, or whether the construction has been freshly built or it is like from the 1970s, how the neighborhood looks like, the schools, grocery shops and all those amenities that someone as a human would look before they buy a house. So which is why it does not incorporate those factors, and its estimates are basically based entirely upon the data points in the marketplace. The problem that I have with that is basically you as a real estate agent or broker has to face a lot of criticism from your clients. And the reason is because when people they see valuation, and if the valuation or estimates are higher than it is normal in a neighborhood, the client's gonna come up to you and gonna ask you absurd requests to sell even more than the valuation price, because that's at the end of the day what they want, especially in the competitive nature, because there are multiple agents or brokers in their area which they can go to and have expectations to sell their house on a higher price than what the estimate is telling them, which already at the first place might be overestimating based on the data. So basically I'm going to talk about how Zillow or their algorithm estimates the price of a house, what is the problem with that, why it causes problem to you as a broker or as an agent, and then what problems it causes to the general people who want to list their homes on Zillow, or who are like scrolling around trying to buy a house. So let's look at their website. Zestimate. The Zestimate home value is Zillow's based on millions of public and user submitted data points. Now this is the issue. So they collect public data, and from that public data they have this base data of houses, for example bed, baths and living rooms and whatnot, and based on those data points they calculate the per square footage price. All right, and once they have that price, they calculate it with the total square footage of the house to give you an estimate. They do not incorporate the intangible factors such as if the house has been remodeled, what kind of view the house has, how many shops or grocery stores or schools or all these other amenities are within that within the walking distance of that neighborhood, which is a huge deciding factor for a family that has kids which is trying to move in. Or some factors, for example, if a neighborhood is filled with Hispanic people, then a Hispanic person might be willing to pay a bit higher price to live in that area just so he can be a part of that community. These are the factors that are not incorporated into the estimates. These estimates are just based on number crunching. Another thing that you should know of, which is very important, is that this is based on past data. So any new development, any economic changes that are happening in the economy and taking place in your city, that to incorporate those effects, for example, that might have an effect on a house. The houses might sell on a higher price, because of those economic factors. But then it needs data. And how is data calculated? So a certain number of houses needs to be sold in a certain area at that price, whatever the new equilibrium price is. A certain number of houses need to be sold at that price, and then that data has to go into the public record data, and then that is the data that will be collected by Zillow, and then again it will go into that houses which are being sold in that area, and then it will have all that data incorporated to give you a price, to give you an estimate. Right now this takes a lot of time, guys. Like this takes a lot of time. So that is why it is not up to par with the local estimates. However, the problem is the buyer who's coming onto the website, he doesn't know all of that, right? He's there looking to buy, right? So he sees the estimates, right? If those houses are undervalued, and he comes to you and you tell them as an agent that this house is not worth that, or houses in this neighborhood is not worth that much, and you have listings which are higher than that price, he's gonna think like you're trying to scam him, or like, you know, like you're not doing a good job, or you don't have the market knowledge, because he has this website estimates to go in his favor, which is entirely not true, right? As well as on the seller side, if the estimates that are coming as an overvalued price, then that seller is going to have, you know, obscene expectations from you to sell, and even on a higher price than the valued price that he got from Zillow, right? So this creates a huge problem for you as an agent when you're getting seller listings, as well as for buyers who are trying to buy a home at a affordable price, but they have wrong expectations because of the undervaluation that might happen. There are 20 houses in an area, all right? Again, reiterating the fact that Zillow and all these Redfin and Realtor.com, all of these websites work on number crunching, right? On the data. The problem is if there is an area which has 20-25 houses, and there is one house that has, you know, absolutely amazing view, and so that is valued at a really higher price. For example, the average price of other houses is $500,000, and the price for that particular house could be 1.5 million, right? Although that is an outlier, but Zillow is still going to take that into account, right? And when Zillow does take that into account, it's going to raise the price of all the other houses within that area, right? When actually they won't be worth that much, but it will increase the valuation of all of those houses, right? So if a seller wants to sell their $500,000 house in that area, and they go on Zillow and they check the Zestimates, you know, they'll naturally think like the average price of houses there could be $800,000 because of that overpriced house, because of whatever, you know, view or whatever it had. So now it has in his mind that the average price or Zestimate is $800,000, when actually it's worth $500,000. He's gonna come to you and say like, I want to sell this house for $850K, you know. So, and which is not going to be possible. And if you say like, you know, it's worth 600K or 500K based on the real market value, he's gonna think of you as someone who's incapable, or someone as a scam or something like that, you know. So that is my issue with these estimates and these websites. Another key thing that you have to understand is that only 60.5% of the houses that are sold nationwide come within 5% of the price of the house that is being sold. So what do I mean by that? You know, in real estate, 5% is what makes or breaks the deal. 5% is what decides either you're gonna make a profit or you're gonna make a significant loss. 40% is obviously far off than 5%. Like there are 100 houses sold, 40 of those houses are even, you know, far off than 5%, but 60 of them which are sold are between either under or overvalued by 5%. It's 5%. That's like $25,000 on a $500,000 house. That's what makes it profitable, or it makes it a loss. This is the problem that I have with Zestimate. If Zestimate has helped you somehow in your business, put a comment below. For those of you who don't know, I work with real estate agents and brokers to get them more qualified leads, whether they are seller leads or buyer leads, and I help them put in place a follow-up system that is proven to get them at least 10% appointment rates consistently. So if you want any help with your business, I'd love to hop on a call with you and see if we could be a good fit. I'm gonna put a link for discovery call below this video. If you want to join my group where we talk about how to run ads in real estate niche as well as Facebook ads, I'll put a link to my group below as well. So thank you very much, and in the next video we're gonna go over how you can get real estate leads using social media marketing. So make sure you subscribe to my channel and wait for the next one.